The conception. The beginning of one world, the end of another. Shin Megami Tensei 3 starts with the end, with the whole of the planet warped out of existence as the city of Tokyo folds inward upon itself. Every living thing dies, save for the few humans at the epicenter, and these dead souls remain as ghosts wandering the world. In Japanese, the conception is called jutai, meaning to fertilize or to conceive. This is a spiritual pregnancy, and the city is the egg that's been fertilized, and it resembles one with its round shape, with all creation contained inside. In Shinto tradition, the creation of the world involves chaos made into an egg. In the Japanese sacred text, the Nihon Shoki, it's described as, "Of old, heaven and earth were not yet separated, and the yin and yo not yet divided. They formed a chaotic mass like an egg, which was of obscurely defined limits and contained germs." The word marogare, meaning to aggregate everything, or to round everything up, is used in this story to refer to the rounding of creation, and it's also the same word used as the name of the first Magatama the player receives. This Tokyo is a place of chaos. Many NPCs from early points of the game will describe the place as such, and Lucifer and his fiends also describe this world and their ideal reality as chaotic in nature. The new Tokyo has been born in the same way the old Tokyo was, according to Japan's oldest scriptures. While Buddhism may be the tool that was used to restart creation, the way this restart occurs and the setting in which it is done is all Shintoism. Shinto means the way of the gods. In this case, the gods are kami, spirits of nature, beings that can be good or evil, heavenly or demonic, angel or demon. Shinto is an umbrella that covers a plethora of stories, places, and traditions, and there is no central authority, text, belief, or god. The oldest Shinto texts are the Nihon Shoki and the Kojiki, written some 600 years before the Common Era, when Chinese writing first made its way to the island. The Japanese people adapted the symbols to their own use, and the government began collecting and writing down the myths of their people, trying to create a sense of cultural unity and identity in order to better compete with their neighbors. These ancient texts contain countless stories of creation and origin, destruction and rebirth, and the gods and events of these stories are found peppered throughout Shin Megami Tensei 3. The being which remakes the world is Kagatsuchi, a giant whirling star in the center of the vortex world. In Japanese mythology, it is Kagatsuchi whose birth heralded the existence of death. The creation mythos of Shintoism involves Izanagi and Izanami, the primary parental gods who create the rest of the pantheon. A plethora of gods are born before Kagatsuchi, the god of fire, whose birth burns his mother so badly she dies. It's the first death in creation, and the beginning of many more, including the fire god himself. His angry father cuts him into pieces, and from his death comes more life. Other gods are born, or in some versions of the story, he becomes a series of volcanoes across the islands. Kagatsuchi is a god of birth and death. Being born, he is doomed to die, and his death creates new life. He is the embodiment of the vortex world, created only to be destroyed in the birth of another world. To face him, the player must obtain 3 objects, the Earthstone, Netherstone, and Heavenstone, representing the 3 worlds in Shinto tradition. To create a new world, a human being with a powerful will must collect enough Magatsuhi to begin creation. Magatsuhi has a similar name to Kagatsuchi, and sure enough, This red energy is also named for a Shinto god. He is the god of disaster, a figure born during the very same creation story in which Kagatsuchi was born and destroyed. Magatsuhi is created after his father, Izanagi, returns from hell in an attempt to retrieve his wife after her death. Performing a purification ritual, Izanagi is cleaned and Magatsuhi is born from the filth. He is part of a pair with a lighter god, Naobino Kami. These two rule over all people's hearts, the balance between darkness and light, with Magatsuhi representing the darker side. Not only do humans wishing to create a world need Magatsuhi, they also need a reason. Reasons are philosophies, central beliefs which inform how a world will be created and how it will manifest. In Japanese, the term used is kotowari, which can be traced back to the Chinese ri, a Confucian concept, a philosophy that has become incredibly intertwined with Japanese life and Shinto tradition. Ri is the set of rules that underlies everything, both in a sense of the planet and nature, and society and people. Ri is what makes the sun rise in the morning and set at night, and it tells us how people should behave in various situations, what's polite and proper. The way of things had to be kept, or else disaster could strike. Perform the right rituals, behave properly in society, and you could avoid disease and natural disasters. While the idea would change and transform over time, the concept has become central to many Eastern traditions of thought and been adapted to suit their purposes, and it's easy to see its relation to Shin Megami Tensei. The reason is the underlying law of the world, what the new existence will be controlled by. It is Ri, the laws by which existence operates, redefined by human beings in an apocalyptic world. One of these beings is the demi-fiend, first reborn when a young boy and his caretaker forcibly give him the Magatama, a creepy bug that crawls inside him. The Magatama are named for Shinto sacred beads shaped like kamas, which the items resemble in the main menu. They are used in various rituals, appear in art and in jewelry, and are associated with gods and the imperial family, as one of the sacred treasures of Amaterasu is a Magatama necklace. The Magatamas in the game are all named for religious and mystical terms, almost all of which can be grouped under the three main influences of Shintoism, Buddhism, and Judaism. Wadatsumi, for instance, is named for a Shinto god of the sea, born during the creation of the world as one of the children of Izanagi and Izanami. Murakumo is the original name of a sacred sword, Kusanagi, one of the three pieces of imperial regalia said to have been given to the family by the goddess Amaterasu. Kamudo is the name of a mythical sword wielded by Take Mikazuchi, another of the gods born in the creation of the world. After Kagatsushi's birth kills his mother, Izanagi cuts him into pieces, and some of the blood splatter gives birth to the sword god. Kailash is a sacred mountain, home to Shiva in Hinduism and to Demchog for Tibetan Buddhists. Tradition says circling Kailash 30 times sends you straight to nirvana, and in a similar way, the Magatama named for it is a reward for climbing the mountain of the end game. Vimana comes from the flying palaces or chariots of ancient Indian tradition, and is the name of a Buddhist scripture, the Vimana Vathu, which is a collection of stories that demonstrate how those who do good deeds are reborn into heavenly palaces. Gundari is the Japanese name for the Vajrayana Buddhist deity Amrita Kundalan. Gehenna is the name for a Jewish afterlife where the wicked go when they die, a kind of purgatory where souls are meant to atone for their sins and eventually be set free. Anathema is a religious term that originates in ancient Greek and has had evolving meaning for both Jews and Christians. In Judaism, it refers to something that expresses the displeasure of God. Satan is a Hebrew word for adversary, which was used to refer to a servant of God who tested humankind in certain texts. Adama is a Hebrew word meaning earth, used in Genesis as the origin for the name of the first person, Adam. Sophia is the feminine embodiment of wisdom in many Jewish texts, originating from the Greek translation for the Hebrew chokmah, or wisdom. Other traditions include the Gias, which comes from a Celtic concept central to many hero myths, including the story of Cuchulainn. A Gias is a kind of oath or promise, which when broken, has disastrous consequences. The Ankh is an ancient Egyptian symbol which has become part of Christian symbolism and many occult traditions. It was a symbol of life and the god of the sun, Ra. The Djed is another Egyptian symbol, a pillar shape said to represent the spine of a god, representing stability. Muspel originates in the Norse myth of Muspelheim, the realm of fire, one of the 9 realms ruled by Surt, the harbinger of the end times. Gaia, in Greek myth, the daughter of chaos and mother of all life, the goddess of the earth. Trauma is a hell of a thing. It warps us as much as it molds us. Its blood and black and needle scratch screeches at 3 a.m. when the thumping in your ears wraps us tight and suffocates us. And it never, ever goes away. This story doesn't end the way we want all the time. By Anton Kenker. 73 poems of trauma, terror, and the fight to win back control of the self, wrapped in cracked scabs and pus. Available in ebook and paperback at thedragonsroost.biz or through Amazon, with an introduction written by yours truly.